And to discuss Don Lemon's arrest and the narratives that have been circling around it and ICE, we welcome Georgia Republican Congressman Buddy Carter. Congressman Buddy Carter, thanks so much for joining.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you back with us, Congressman. So the Senate appears poised to pass what's called the 2-week stopgap measure, all this to fund the Department of Homeland Security. What do you make of the threats from Senate Democrats to partially shut down the government after the shootings in Minnesota?
Well, let's face it, if the Democrats shut the government down again, it'll be Schumer shutdown 2.0. Remember what they did back in the fall when they voted 14 times. Jon Ossoff, the Democratic senator from Georgia, voted 14 times to keep the government shut, using our troops, using our WIC, our SNAP beneficiaries as leverage in order to get something that they were never going to get, and that is health care coverage for illegal immigrants. They are willing to do that again this time. And if they do shut it down, it'll be on them once again, just as it was last time. There's no reason why this government should be shut down. We should be able to get this done. We've got an agreement and it looks like in place now, and they still may have to work out DHS. But keep in mind, DHS is extremely important as well, because not only do they have, obviously, Department of Homeland Security, but they also have FEMA and the Coast Guard in that budget as well. And FEMA in particular right now, while we're having the cold weather in the eastern part of our country, FEMA is going to be very important, so they need funding.
Congressman, what do you see are the primary reasons for resistance by the Democrats for greater cooperation with ICE?
Well, let's face it, the Democrats have a violence problem, and what happened in Minneapolis is certainly a tragedy. Anytime you have the loss of life, it is a tragedy. This could have been avoided and should have been avoided. It should have been avoided because the governor and the mayor should cooperate with the federal law enforcement. If they would have cooperated, none of this would have happened. ICE is there for a reason. ICE is there to try to keep our citizens safe. Let's face it, we know that during the Biden-Harris administration, there were open borders policy that Jon Ossoff supported. And these policies resulted in millions of illegal immigrants coming in this country. It would be naive of us to think that some of them were not criminals. And that's what ICE is targeting right now. The criminal illegal immigrants. They want them and they want to get rid of them. We know that those countries were emptying their prisons and sending their criminals over here. We saw what happened in Georgia with Laken Riley. Keep in mind, Jose Abrera was from Venezuela. Thank goodness we have Maduro under arrest now here in the United States. But he was emptying his prisons and sending them over here. And that's what ended up happening in the loss of life with Laken Riley here in Georgia.
You know, you mentioned Laken Riley, and I'm not drawing parallels or comparing which death is more tragic than the other, but it is worth reflecting on seeing the level of protest when, Laken Riley, as you put it, a young woman, nurse with no criminal record, yet not a sound out of the Democratic camp taking to the streets for the illegal immigrants, but yet when you have people like George Floyd with a history of crime, and then we're now seeing with this latest shooting, Alexander Preddy, I believe his name is, violently kicking the ICE vehicle, spitting at the car. They're coming out to defend these people. I think it is worth reflecting on to a certain degree.
I couldn't agree with you more. Look, this is a problem, again, that can be avoided. We need cooperation. We need cooperation from state and local law enforcement to help us to get these illegal criminals out of our country. And they are in our country. We know that. We just had an incident in Georgia here recently where an illegal immigrant had come across, who had a record, had raped an 11-year-old. Broke into a home and raped an 11-year-old. These are the kind of things that you don't want to wait until they happen. You want to try to intervene and try to not let them happen. We know that we've got rapists, we've got murderers, pedophiles in our country, and they're here illegally. Those are the ones that we're targeting. Someone who's been here and is illegal and has doesn't have a criminal record, we'll deal with them later. But right now, we've got to deal with these criminal illegal immigrants, and that's what ICE is trying to do. If we have the cooperation of the local and state officials and law enforcement, then we can do that. But when you've got leaders, Democratic leaders in particular, like the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis, inciting violence against ICE, that is un-American.
Congressman, speaking of the protests in Minnesota, former CNN host Don Lemon has now been taken into custody, arrested following his presence in that incident where protesters disrupted a church service inside of the church. Legal analysis we're hearing says free speech doesn't allow one to violate freedom of religion. Does his arrest warrant the measures that were taken?
Yes, it does. And I'm glad they've arrested him. I hope that they will put him in jail because that's where he needs to go. For those of you like me who will be going to church this Sunday, rest assured that you're still in America and that we're not going to allow this. Look, speech is different than disrupting a religious service, regardless of what religion it is. And these people who were a part of this, they should be locked up. They should be put in handcuffs and locked up. We cannot tolerate that in America.
Congressman Buddy Carter, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.